This bone tutorial will cover the femur and patella of both the equine and the bovine. Here you can see an equine femur. So this is from a pretty large horse actually. This is a femur, and we have different parts of the femur that we need to identify. So first of all, we have the head of the femur right here. That's probably very easily identifiable for you. Since we removed the limb in the dissection and you saw that, it was in the acetabulum, so head of the femur. Then lateral to that, you want to make sure and see the greater trochanter. And then on the medial side, so move a little bit distally, and on the medial side, you have the lesser trochanter. Right there. In the equine, we also have a third trochanter. So if you turn it slightly to the lateral side, you'll see it's very large in this specimen. So a third trochanter is right here. Then if you move distally down the femur, we have a trochlea. So the trochlea is here, and it has these two ridges that you need to identify. So the medial ridge is always the bigger one. So medial ridge of the trochlea, lateral ridge of the trochlea is here. It's always smaller than the medial. So medial is big, lateral is small. Then if you turn it even more to the lateral side, there's a couple of things I want to show you. So here you can see this indentation in the bone. So this is the supracondylar fossa. So supracondylar meaning above the condyle. So you have these condyles here, and it's above those. So supracondylar fossa. And if I tip it up here, you can also see this extensor fossa, this divot here. That's the extensor fossa. So right next to the condyle and in between the condyle and the lateral ridge is your extensor fossa. Between the lateral condyle, lateral ridge, extensor fossa. Above the condyle, supracondylar fossa. Then we also have the patella, which we'll show you here, since it goes along with the femur. So this is what a patella looks like. It's a sesamoid bone, but it basically just kind of sits here and it moves over the femur. So over between the ridges on the trochlea. So that's a patella. Now we'll take a look at the bovine femur, which is only slightly different. So here's a bovine femur. We have the head of the femur again here. Then we also have a greater trochanter here on the lateral side. If you turn it slightly medially, you have a lesser trochanter here. But in the bovine, we do not have a third trochanter, so you don't need to identify that on this specimen since there isn't one. Then we will move down slightly, so we'll move distally down the femur and look at the trochlea, which is similar to the equine. So here's the trochlea on the distal end of the femur. You have a medial ridge of the trochlea, which is bigger, and a lateral ridge of the trochlea, which is smaller. Then we'll take a look at those two fossas. So if you turn it to the lateral side, you have the lateral condyle here, so you have two condyles, lateral condyle, and just above that, so above, supracondylar fossa, right there. Then if we kind of tilt it, hopefully you'll be able to see that extensor fossa right here. That divot in between the lateral condyle and the lateral ridge of the trochlea is the extensor fossa. Then we have the patella in the bovine, a little bit different in shape. So you can see it's slightly more angular in shape than the equine. But again, it just crosses over and moves across that trochlea.